Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to review the Microsoft Surface 2. The Surface 2 has been out a while, but I finally was able to get my hands on it. Maybe some of you saw the unboxing and overview, but this video will be a little more thorough. We'll cover the hardware again and the different options, but we'll also go over the design and the overall use and software of the device. So let's first take a look at this. Now, this is the 32 gigabyte model. It comes in 32 or 64 for about $450 or $550. Now, that does not include this Type Cover 2, which comes in at about $130. You can also get the Touch Cover 2, which comes in at $120. It also comes with the tablet, and then you get this power adapter, and it's pretty much the same as the previous year, only they've added a light to it. So it's magnetic, and once you plug it into the side of the device, it has a little light here on the top. And that's pretty much it. It takes a couple hours to charge, and it's a pretty big battery, so that's not too bad, and we'll talk more about battery in a little bit. But you can see the back of the Surface 2, they've put the word Surface. Here we have a camera. It's actually a 5 megapixel camera, and you can see it's got a little microphone there. On the back here, we have the kickstand, which the Surface is known for. And you can see here it says 32 gigabyte, and it's a 2-position kickstand this time, so it clicks up again, and you can see the hinges here. This is made out of really strong magnesium, so what that means is it's light, but it's also durable, and it's held up really well. I thought maybe this would get a little loose or flimsy, but it's held up pretty well, and it's got a satisfying click or slam when you close it. On the side, you can see this is where the power adapter goes. Here we have a USB 3.0 port. We also have mini HDMI out, and then we have one of the speakers. This is stereo, so we have one on the other side as well. On the top here is where they house the antennas and things. Let's open it up. And you can see it's already on, but let's turn it around first. And you can see we have the other speaker. We have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We've got a volume rocker, and then this little cutout here that makes it a little bit easier to open the kickstand. On the front, we have another camera, and that's for video chat, things like that. Let me turn it off here. There we go. And you can see the camera right here, and then we have another microphone, and it's got a light sensor for ambient light. Now, the front camera is a 3.5 megapixel camera, and this is a really nice, very sensitive touchscreen. It's 1080p, so it's actually really nice to use and look at. It's 1920 by 1080 pixels. It's 10.6 inches across, and it has a 208 pixel per inch pixel density. So it's not quite a retina display, but you really don't see pixels very much at all. It also has multi-touch up to 5 fingers, and they call it ClearType technology. Now, on the top of the device, you just have the power sleep-wake button right here. And then if we flip it over to the bottom, you'll see we have our connections for our keyboard or touch covers, type covers, and it's a really nice magnetic connection. Speaking of the type covers, here we have a blue one. They come in multiple varieties of color, black, blue, pinkish color, and this is a type cover, so it's actually got physical keys instead of just this felt-like material that you touch. It also has a trackpad right here, and it works really well, although I really am not crazy about this material feel. So you just click it into place, and then it acts as a cover. When you close it, it shuts the device off. When you open it, it turns the device on, as you can see. Really nice, keeps the device safe. It does add some bulk to it, but it's pretty thin for a physical keyboard. So you can see it's pretty nice there. You can even flip it around, and when you do flip it around, it does know that you're not using it, so it'll pop the keyboard up on front as well. The Surface 2 is a pretty impressive tablet as far as what specs are inside. It comes with an NVIDIA Tegra 4 T40, which means it's a quad-core 1.7 gigahertz Cortex A15 processor. It also has a ULP GeForce video processor that has 72 cores on it. It also includes an accelerometer, a gyro, a compass, and also has GPS capability for geotagging your photos and using maps. It has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It does not have LTE, and actually that's not even available at this point. And that's not a terrible thing, as most people that are using these are using them for Wi-Fi. But overall, that's a pretty good package for the $450 price. Now, internally, this is the 32 gigabyte model. It also has 2 gigabytes of internal RAM. But even though this is the 32 gigabyte model, we still have expandable storage underneath this back cover here. You can see right here is a slot, and this allows up to 64 gigabytes of additional micro SD RAM. So you can store quite a bit of files or movies or whatever you want to put on here just in this little slot. So that's really convenient as well. Now, additionally to that, if you really need some traditional extra storage, you can just plug into the USB and you'll have plenty of room for whatever hard drive you want to use, and that really makes this very convenient. Now you can see I have the kickstand open here. I'll turn it around. I have the kickstand open. You can position it in a different angle, and this is actually much better when it's on your lap. So we'll click this back in place, and we have the keyboard. Now this is a backlit keyboard because it's the type cover too. Now let me turn this and I'll unlock it. Microsoft has included a really nice picture unlock, so we just created an unlock based on a picture. I know it's kind of sacrilege, it's got a MacBook on there, but it was the easiest thing for me to remember at this point. Now you can see here is the traditional tiled home screen. This runs Windows 8.1, and you can see their live tiles. Things are just scrolling through, and it's really pretty nice. The screen is very responsive, and I can also control this with a mouse using this little touchpad below. Let me move this out so you can see that a little bit. But I can move the mouse around. If I want to click on something, I just tap, and it opens. I can right click, and you can see it's really nice. It's responsive. I can just hit the Windows key, go back home, hit the Windows key again to go back. Now with Windows 8.1 RT comes a few disadvantages. You can't install traditional EXE programs. You can install what's in the App Store. So if we scroll over, here's the App Store. Now any of these tiles I can rearrange, and we can just tap and hold this. We can name the group, and then down here we have some options. We can resize it, and we've got large, medium, small. I just resized it to large, and you've got all those options for just about every one of these tiles. Now let's take a look at what kind of apps we actually have on here. The apps here, you can see this is 3D Mark. We'll go back, and I'll just use the mouse. You can use either or. You can use the touch screen or the mouse. Either one works. And if we swipe in from the side, just like all Windows works this time, we can just search. We can go back, and there's settings, all those sorts of things. If we swipe in from the top or bottom, we can just go to home, and we'll do that. So here is the home page of the App Store. And you can see, we'll go back to the store, and it goes back to what we were at before. And then if we swipe down again, here's all the different things. So picks for you, top paid. We'll go to top paid and just show you what we've got. So these are the top paid, and these are all games: Halo, Spartan Assault, Plex, and there's some really good games on here, and it runs them really well. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But right now you can see there's a bunch of different games. You probably won't find all the games you're used to on the iOS side or the Android side. And if you're using Windows regularly anyway, maybe you have a Windows phone, these actually work really well together, and they sync everything. And you'll find most of the same types of apps on either one. So we'll scroll through here a little more. Let's go to Instagram. And you can see there's no Instagram. There is for Windows Phone, but there isn't for this. Let's try Facebook. That's one I know that's there. You can see. And the Wi-Fi signal is quite strong. I just thought I'd mention that. If we go to settings, you'll see I have almost four bars, and I'm actually 2 floors away from the Wi-Fi. So it picks up quite nicely and works really well. Now, something a little more traditional, maybe that we use on different applications, maybe eBay. I know there's an eBay app. Just depends what you do. You're really going to find a wide variety of apps. The problem is those apps may not be as well known as something that's on an iPad or Android. That doesn't mean there aren't good apps. It just might be something you're not used to, or maybe not everyone's using unless they have a Windows device. Now here's the home screen like I mentioned before. If I scroll down, here's the rest of our apps. And one of the things I wanted to show you was games. In fact, let's just go right to games. We have a game center here that ties in with Xbox. So if you have an Xbox or Xbox One, they all tie together, which is really nice. Let's go into games. Actually, let's go back. We can just slide back. We'll go home. We'll go back. You can see how fast this is. We'll go to Halo Spartan Assault. Let this run for a second. And we'll play the light version since I didn't buy it. You can see it loads nice and fast. It's a pretty simple game, quite honestly. Now we can use our finger. You can see there's a little bit of a hiccup. We can use our finger and just kind of zip around. We can use the mouse to do the same. But if we want to go to a different app, we just swipe in. We can go back and go back to Halo Spartan Assault. Takes a second, and then we're back. So really nice. It's very fast, and it's great because you can actually bring this in and maybe bring in something else, and everything kind of resizes, although you really won't be able to play that much. So it's really nice. You can multitask on it and play games. And one thing you can do on this that you can't really do on other tablets as well is Office. So you can actually do real work. We'll go to the desktop. And on Windows RT, the desktop is kind of just there for the ability to use Office. So it's got Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. So let's open a Word document. And then you can browse your files as well through the Explorer. One thing I did find was a little bit slow is Outlook and Mail sometimes respond slowly to touch, and I'm not really sure what that is. Hopefully that's fixed with an update. But we just have a blank document, and we can just type, hello, how are you today? It's pretty much full Word. It's not full on Word, but it's got enough features for the majority of users that I really don't think it's going to be a problem. And it saves to Word format. You can export it. And when you do export it or save it, it saves to the file system, or you can save it to SkyDrive, which is really nice because this comes with 200 gigabytes additional storage with SkyDrive if you buy one of these new. So it's really nice for that. So you can do real work and say maybe you want to do Word, and then maybe, well, let's swipe in something else. Maybe you want to watch a video. Maybe you want to browse the store. You can see I'm just doing this, swiping it in. I want to resize this maybe a little bit. So maybe I'm watching a video over here, typing over here. It really makes it convenient. It's really, really nice to do multitask operations when you're using I was going to call it a computer, but the tablet. So that's one thing I find about this, that it seems more like you're using a full-on computer, maybe carrying around a netbook that should have been, not a netbook that was really slow and sluggish. Now, there's a lot more we can do with the operating system, but if you've seen Windows 8.1, you're pretty familiar with it. It's basically the same, or at least feels the same, with the exception of the apps. So if it doesn't have the apps you want, you're going to be out of luck. But otherwise, everything is great. It's really fast. And the battery life is actually really good. Now, initial setup, the battery drained really fast, and there was some bugs in the software they actually found that caused some of that. So you can see here if I swipe in, actually it's easier if we just go to the desktop and then tap on the battery. You can see we have 85% remaining, and it gives a little tip. Your current brightness setting might reduce battery life. Now, if I dim that a little bit, I may not be able to see it as well, or you may not be able to see it as well, and obviously that won't be good. But if you use this regularly, I think you'll find you can use it all day. You can legitimately use it for 10 hours, maybe even longer. It just depends what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of heavy multitasking or game playing, you can expect it to be a little bit shorter, but for the most part, it's a simple 10-hour plus tablet. You can watch video all day. If you load it up with some video, you go on a flight or something, you really can watch video all day long. You can see here it's loading. And what it did is it brought that window out and asked me where I want to put it. So I just tapped over here and it kind of puts it where I want. And then we'll get rid of this. And you can see there's some hits we can rent or buy. It's really a really nice system. Now, overall, my personal opinion is that it's a fantastic tablet. I really don't have any problems with the tablet or the keyboard or the whole idea of it per se. My biggest problem is, and you might hate me for this, but I'm generally an Apple user. So because I use the Apple ecosystem, iPhone, iPad, MacBook, to edit videos, things like that, it really is difficult to switch to something like this unless you're a Windows user. Now, the majority of people are Windows users and probably will really like this because all of your photos and everything sync and everything really works out well. The cameras are really decent. And overall, it's just a really nice tablet to use. So I would definitely recommend one. I don't know that I would recommend one over an iPad if you're an iPhone user or an Apple user. However, if you want to get real work done, meaning Word, it's much, much easier on here. Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I prefer Keynote. However, Word and PowerPoint and Excel are used much more prevalent throughout many industries. So it's really something you can use all day. You can set up VPNs on it. You can use it pretty much as a traditional Windows machine. And there's apps that really will let you do anything you want. They may not be the traditional apps, like I said before, that you're used to, but there are plenty of apps. Now, the final thing I wanted to show you is the camera. If we slide up from here, we'll go into the camera. And they've really made some improvements. The camera isn't fantastic, and you can see I'm talking right here. The camera is actually great for video chat, but if I was to spin the camera around, actually we swipe up from the bottom to do that. If I was to, I just took a picture, you can see it hiccuped there for a second, but if I spin the camera around, the rear camera is picking up the wall that someone commented in an earlier video needs fixing. It's fine, really. It's not a big deal, but basically this picture is okay. It's a little bit grainy, and your phone will do much better than this. But if you needed to take a picture, it's there, and the other camera for chat is great. It's actually great in the dark as well, so definitely something I would recommend using regularly if you're going to video chat, and it works great with Skype. One of the things I almost forgot to mention is that you can use external accessories with the Surface. So you can use a Bluetooth keyboard with most tablets out there, but because this has a USB port, you can use other accessories as well. So I have this Microsoft Mini Explorer mouse that I really like. I've used it for a long time, and it's one of their first BlueTrack devices. And it has a USB adapter here, and we just simply put it in the side. It recognizes it immediately. You can see I'm moving the mouse around. So if I want to go into whatever, I can just go down here, click desktop. It was in the camera mode, so you can see it here, click back, and now I'm at home. And you can scroll and everything. It sets up all the drivers by itself. Maybe you don't like this keyboard and you want a full-size keyboard, and it has one of those USB things. You can just plug that in. You can even daisy chain them with a USB hub, just like you could on any regular computer. So it's really convenient. And you can also use dual monitors with it as well. It's really nice because it has that external micro HDMI or mini HDMI, goes right to an external monitor, and it will power 2 monitors, no problem, and you can get real work done with this. So it really makes it very nice and convenient. This is actually how I use it most because I'm not crazy about this kind of felt feeling touchpad. If you have any questions or comments regarding the Microsoft Surface 2 or anything additional to add that you may have found that I missed, please place those in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.